Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're just joining me, do well to hit the subscribe button, and of course don't forget to like, share and comment on my videos, and lastly turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss my videos as I upload them. So last week we looked at active directories, and for this week we'll be looking at permissions. So what are permissions and why are permissions important? In every organization, you don't just want every user to have access to all files and informations. So in order to restrict users' ability to see all this information, to ensure that users only have access to what they are meant to have access to. So permissions comes into play. So I will be showing you how to set up permissions across your files, directories, and so on and so forth. So sit back, sit tight, relax as I take you through the sprint. Cheers.
So permissions is an essential part of Kali Linux because we use it to actually set privacies on our files, of course, and you can also set permissions for groups, for group users and directories as the case may be. So to begin, let's just do an ls so I can just move into my, all right, let me just go to my exploit directory where I love to carry out exploits. Let me navigate to the AD file, AD directory. Okay, so I can do my exploit here. Okay, great. So I have a folder here and a text file here, so I'll just do a long listing to see those files and their permissions. As I earlier explained to us last week, we have permissions for this. The first lines is the general permission, we have the group permission and the user permission. I did explain all this last week, so but I'll just do a quick recap with my table. Let me see if I can see that table. Okay, all right, so as I explained to us, right, so just before I come to this place, okay, so if you see this file, for instance, if you see this file, orange.txt, this is a text file, okay, belonging to the tech group, and the creator of this file is Jacob at Tech. If you see the permissions on this file, there are no basic permissions. I'm not seeing any permission for the group, and I'm not seeing any permission for the users, but the only permission here I'm seeing is for the creator of this file. So please take note, this particular first example coming to this directory, ABC directory, you see the first section here, drxw, this first one here, which the first D, I told you the first D signifies a directory. If you see anyone that's carrying dash before the permission, it's telling you that that's a file. That's one way to tell between a file and a directory, because most files you might not see .txt on the front to tell you that it's a text file, right? You can create a file without putting .txt on the front. A file can be .php, it can be a PHP file, it can be a Perl file, it can be a Python file, like that. So might not necessarily make it .txt. So in the only way to tell, sometimes probably you might just try cutting it. If it doesn't work, the computer will give you an error that what you're trying to do is not a file but a directory, so you try ucd. But once you do a long listing on a directory and it lists out everything you have there, you should be able to know which one is a file and which one is not a file, and the contents of that particular file, so, or directory. So take for instance this ABC, which is the first one, ABC directory. So the first we are seeing here to explain, you see the first alphabet there is D. Let me see, probably if my screen is too small. Okay, so the first alphabet you're seeing here is D. D means, it's telling you that this is a directory. D stands for directory. So we have the read, which is R, we have the write, and we have the execute, right? Now you see a dash. Now a dash, the next thing that follows is permission for groups, XR. The next one means execute and read permission. X means execute, R means read permission. This is for group permission, for the group users. Then the last one are for the users permission, other users, I beg your pardon, other users who are not in this particular group. So other users can execute this file. All right, so that's what this ABC is telling you, this this permission here. Now you can see the creator of this file is Kali, and the group is Kali, and the content of this particular file is 4096. This should be 4 MB now, if I'm not, yes, this is 4096, so it's more than kilobytes. So this is 4.96 megabytes of file, meaning we have things inside here. This is the content length, the file size. All right, so we'll come down to the orange.txt, and you can see it starts with a dash, signifying that this is a file and not a directory. And this is the permission you are seeing here belongs to the creator of this file, who is Jacob.tech, because Jacob created this file. Jacob has the ability to read, write, and execute this file, but other users have no rights because there's no permission set. Everything is dash here, as you can see it. All right, so I will modify this file, for instance, back to where I was saying. Okay, since I'm doing a quick recap on this table here. I told us last week that I told us that we use decimal notations for, okay, to change permissions. We use decimal notations to signify them, since computer is a binary system that is made up of 0 and 1, right? So permissions in Linux are converted into octa, and 8-digit number that starts with 0 and end with 7. Okay, so octa digits represent 3 binaries. Please take note, octa digits represent 3 binaries. Digit. In essence, we can represent the read, write, and execute permission with a digit. So as seen here, I started by saying line 1, 0, 0, 0. And you see 0, what 0 stands for? 0 means no permission. And now when we have, remember, 3 digits to represent the octa, the first 0 means no permission. The second 0, remember, the first 0 will stand for excuse me, first 0 no permission, second 0 no permission, third 0 no permissions. I mean, if we are doing take this, okay, I beg your pardon, let me explain. So 0 means no permission, 1 means you can see 001 now, for instance. If we use a command 000, we want to change permission of a file, and we put 00, we want to change that file, and we use the command 000, we mean no permission for all, because nothing is being set. And when we use 001, we are trying to say no read. Remember, it's RWX. See my screen, RWX here, which I just highlighted here. Read, write, and execute on this order. So 0 means there's no read permission. Then second 0 means there's no write permission. And we have 1 here. 1 means execute permission, right? Remember, we're using 0 and 1. Okay, computer use 0 and 1 to understand. All right, so we come to line 3. 0 means no read permission, and we have 1 means there is a write permission here, and 0 again means no execute permission. So if we use this particular command on a file, we are trying to say we are disabling the read and the execute command. We are only leaving the write command on that file. So we come to line 4, 0110, 0 no permission, no read permission, but write and execute permission is allowed. This is 011, that's the command. And when we have 100, we means a read on line 5, we mean read permission is enabled, but write and execute is not enabled on that file. And we have 101, read permission enable, write permission not enable, execute permission enable. 7110, read, write, execute is enabled. Sorry, read and write is enabled, execute permission is not enabled on that file. 111, all permissions are granted. All permissions are granted. All right. Now, to further explain, now 7 represents 11111. Please take note. Computer uses binaries such as 0 and 1. In Kali Linux, it uses octa. Kali uses octa from 0 to 7. Each of this number, whether you use 0, whether you use 1, it has a binary, a complete binary, which is 3 digits. Don't be lost. Don't be lost. Each of these binaries now on from 0 here down to 7 here. If I pick 7, if I put 7, I mean that I am turning on the read, write, and execute permission. So example, let me explain now. So to call a function now for Kali, for instance, now I want to set a particular function. I want to turn on the read, write, and execute permission. So to use the read permission, I can use 7, being the first here. 7 means read permission, of course, enabled. 6 stands for what? Read. Okay, hang on. I tried to explain something that day for us. So I said, when I started earlier, I told us that the first one is for the creator of the group, the creator of that particular file. The second is for the group users, and the last is for other users. This is the permission, how it works. So 7, if I use 7 here, I'm trying to say, as me as the creator of this file, I am giving myself full permission, which is number 7. I grant myself all permission. Now coming to the group, which is the second, I put number 6, meaning all group users can read and modify this file. Please take note. Group users can read and modify these files. Number 6, read and write. Read and write. Now 0 for other users. Other users cannot do anything. They don't have any permission on that file. So this is what 670 means. Please take note.
Alright, so looking at our both files, for the orange.txt file and the ABC folder, you see for the orange.txt file, it belongs to um, the tech group, and Jacob at Tech here is the owner of this particular file, and members of the tech group as well have access to this file. You can see from the permission here, as explained earlier, the read, write, and execute permission. The first here belongs to the creator of this file, which is Jacob at Tech, and the read and write, it's for every member of the group, right? So, but for other users, they don't have other permissions, other users who are not member of the tech group. So let's see, for instance, we are logged in as Kali. So if we do who am I? Sorry, I didn't spell that correctly. So when we do who am I, for instance, you can see we are logged in as Kali. All right, so let's try to view this file as Kali user to see if we can view this file. So let's cat orange.txt. All right, so you can see the Kali user, it's not permitted to view this particular file, as the case may be, because they don't have permission, right? So next we need to do, as a result, just do a long listing again. All right, so let's try to modify this file so that other users can have access to this file. So remember, we're looking at how to set permissions, right? So let's make that file visible for other users. So let's give other users the permission, right? So to view the file. So for start, we can just do sudo change modify, and we can decide to use 777. Of course, I taught you already what 77 means. 7 means it has both read and write permission. That's for the creator of the file. The group users have read, write, and execute permission, and for other users, we are giving them read, write, and execute permission as well, which is the 7 here, the octa number here. So let's hit enter on that file so you can see. So all right, password. Okay, so I've just modified that file now. So let's do a long listing to see the details of that file. So you can see the permissions here have changed. Read, write, execute for the owner of the file. Another read, write, execute for the group for the group users, and under read write execute for other users. So now let's try to view this particular file again, still as Kali. Let's see again, just so if you do whom am I here, you can see we are still Kali. All right, let's try to view the file now. So do cat again, or in the txt, and this time around you can see Kali user can actually view this particular file. Not sure what happened here. Okay, I think I open different terminal. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me navigate back. I think I mistakenly closed the directory I was in. Okay, so to a long list in here. All right, so we are back to where we started from. So that was easy. Cat orange.txt, orange.txt. So our Kali user can now view this particular file. So that's one way to set permissions for a file. So you can do this, you can play around the syntax and get yourself familiarized with it. So all right, so next thing we want to do now is let's create a new file now as Kali user and try to use other users to view this file, for instance. So to do that, let's say remember, same things that apply in the file can also be done in the directory. Same approach, right? Same approach. Okay, let's work on this directory. Let me show you something. Do a long list in here. Do a long list in here. So for this particular directory, ABC directory, based on the permission here, read, write, execute. Okay, execute and read. All right, so let's try to create a file by Kali user. Let me see. Let's just touch something. Just use strip card, for instance. Let's say drum.txt, and I will want to modify. Sorry, so I'll just edit the syntax again. Okay, drum.txt, and I'll just write 1, 2, 3 or append and say there. And all right, so let's quickly like this. So when we do a listing here, that's our drum.txt. If we cut the file now, all right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the file we just created. Let's do a long list. Let's see the permissions on that particular file. So it has the read and write for the creator of the file. It has only a read for the group user, and it has only a read for other users, meaning other users can as well read this file. But let's restrict the permissions to only those in the Kali group. So to do that, we're going to take out this read here from other users, and then we'll try to log in as Jacob Attack. But I will leave the file first as the way it is, and I will switch to Jacob Attack. I will log in as Jacob Attack and try to read this file. You see that we will be able to read this file since the file came with a read permission for other users. But let's put that to work. So the command is to switch user to Jacob Attack. Jacob Attack. So I'm trying to switch user here. Jacob Attack. Okay, trying to switch to this user. Requesting for password. Okay, so we are in. All right, so if I do an ID here, okay, Jacob. All right, so I'll just quickly click these, and if we do who am I, you can see now that we are Jacob. So pwd present working directory, where are we? Okay, we're on the same directory. All right, so let's do an ls here. You can see these are all the files here. All right, so let's try to view this file drum.txt which we created. Remember, Kali created that particular file, but if you do a long list in here, So you can see the particular file, that drum.txt, was created by Kali. You can see, and also in the Kali group, but there's a permission there for other users to view this file. So let's see if Jacob can view that file. Cat drum.txt. All right, so you can see Jacob can actually view this file. But how about we restrict the permissions to only members of that particular group, just members of the Kali group alone, to be able to view this file? To do that, let's quickly go back to Kali. Let's navigate back to Kali. So sudo switch to Kali, and enter our password for the Kali user. All right, so we are back as Kali now. So let's modify that particular file. So do change mode. Let's use let's work with 640, for instance. Drum.txt. Okay. Okay, let me give the super user permission. Sudo change mode, yeah, 640. So we're using 640. I taught you what these all these binaries are. So let's see. Okay, requesting for password. So do an ls here, a long listing here. So let's see that drum.txt. All right, so we've taken out for the drum.txt file. You can see the permissions now. The creator of this file have the read and write permission. The members of the Kali group have the read permission, and other users don't have permission. So now let's go back. Let's switch to Jacob attack and see if we can still view the file again. So do sudo switch user Jacob attack, for instance, and password. So who we are in, who am I? So you can see we are Jacob. We are logged in as Jacob now. All right, so let's do a long listing to see the files that we have here. All right, so our files are still here intact. Let me just do just a short listing. So we want to view this file now. So you can see the file, but let's see if you can actually read the content of that file. So let's look at drum.txt. So you can see permission denied. So he don't have the permission now to view this file. So as I earlier stated, this is the importance of permission, especially when we are working with Active Directory. So we use this to enforce principle of least privilege, where any just user don't have access to any file, right? So we use this to limit access to users based on their job description and their area of jurisdiction, so that they don't just have access to each and every file. In most organizations, there are some files that are classified. So this is one way to set permissions on files. Remember, like I taught you earlier on, like I said to you earlier on, the same thing that it's applicable to the file is the same thing you can still do to the directory. So we can as well replicate same thing on directories, right? We can lock directories, we can set permissions on directory, restricting unauthorized users from accessing that particular directory. So this was just to keep this class very short. So we have come to the end of today's lesson. If you do have any question, please do well to leave a comment on the chat. Will do well to respond to it. Thank you. Alright, so with that being said, we've come to the end of today's lesson. If you're just joining me, please do well to hit the like button, and of course don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you all in my next video.